In on Live 365 on Chris Baker Radio. Thank you for popping by. We do this every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you like what you hear, we do normally drop another show twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. However, we're taking 4th of July week off. So there's your reminder. Okay, well, let's get into our lead topic. New Yorkistan has, they've gotten the primaries done. And we talked about it on Wednesday, but I felt like there was more that we could have covered. And it's kind of, by 2025 standards, been a slow news week. So we're going to circle back, to quote Jen Psaki, and we're going to talk about the new mayor out in the Democrat nominee for mayor out in New York City. Now, here's the thing. So you had this guy, Zohran Mamdani. He's a Muslim from Uganda. He's an open socialist. I call him a communist because he is one, but he calls himself a socialist because you can't sell communism even in the bluest of cities in this country yet. But he beat out Andrew Cuomo, who I'm not a fan of. Andrew Cuomo was the Democratic governor of New York during COVID. He's a Nepo baby. His dad was governor. His brother was on CNN, got fired for a whole bunch of different reasons. Now he's on News Nation. Actually, not as bad now that he's not a slave to his corporate overlord, but I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him. But Andrew Cuomo, I mean, this is the guy who put COVID patients into nursing homes and let it wreak havoc on the old people there. This is the guy who was later on accused of fondling women inappropriately and said, and I quote, "I'm not perverted, I'm just Italian." I'm Italian. I've never done that. So I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe I'm Sicilian. Maybe he's from a different part. I don't know. Maybe it's a northern Italian type thing. But it takes a lot for me to come out and publicly endorse Andrew Cuomo. This guy acted like a dictator during COVID. He had Tim Dillon was critical of Andrew Cuomo's COVID policies, had a comedy show scheduled during COVID time, and they had done all the necessary precautions. They were scanning people's temperatures at the door. They were requiring masks and distancing, and everything was within the rules. And an hour before showtime, they get a call straight from the governor's office that says, "Hey, we're shutting it down. We changed our mind. This isn't okay. We're yanking your permit to do the shows outdoors and everything." They wouldn't provide a reason why, but we all have a pretty decent idea why. It's because he was shutting down his critics, which is what the Democrats always do. Well, Cuomo no longer became useful to the Biden administration, and they went after him with these allegations, decided to try to make a political comeback, ran for mayor of New York City, lost to this Zohran Mamdani guy in the primary. Cuomo has since said, because he was thinking about running as a third party, he's since said he's not going to do it, which leaves you with three real choices. You've got this Zohran Mamdani. You've got Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor, who's running as an independent. And then you've got Curtis Sliwa, who's a Republican. He's the founder of the Guardian Angels, the people that go around in New York City in the red berets, and they try to peacefully prevent crimes. There was an Office episode about this where they parodied it, where Dwight Schrute had founded a group called the Knights of the Night, and they ran. Do you remember the Knights of the Night? Yeah, so that's Curtis Sliwa. Here's my thing on this. I don't think that this is an endorsement of socialism. I don't think it means that socialism is on the rise, that this guy won the primary. I think you've got a couple of things at play here. I think America, whether it's left or right, has a very anti-establishment momentum going on right now. And Cuomo represents the establishment in New York City probably better than anyone else. So he had that working against him. He was a controversial establishment hack who was embroiled in scandal after scandal after scandal. There's a lot of people that don't trust him, nor should they. And this guy was the next most popular choice. So I don't think that this is, I wouldn't call this over quite yet. But here's what I will say. There's only one other person that can win. And it's not Curtis Sliwa, it's Eric Adams. Eric Adams needs to form a Donald Trump-style coalition to save the city from socialism. Communism. Let's call it what it really is, from communism. Curtis Sliwa he's got Cuomo's dropped out. Curtis Sliwa needs to drop out of the race and endorse Adams. And they need to work together because Sliwa's not electable. Adams, I don't agree with him on everything, but he's a whole hell of a lot better than either Cuomo or Mamdani. And I think he's the best chance you have. I mean, he's an unlikely hero. He's what's standing in the way of socialism. Eric Adams is also a Renaissance man. I mean, this guy has got some revolutionary thinking. So for the longest time, New Yorkers just used to throw their garbage out on the street, right? Just bags of trash out on the sidewalks. It was filthy and disgusting until this guy Eric Adams rolled around and he had this fresh idea. Check this out here. What Eric Adams brought to the people in New York City. Look at that. Garbage cans. They'd never had it. There he is, bringing it out right there. Oh, what a concept. Where you can throw your trash in a garbage can. Eric Adams brought that to the people in New York City. And, just truly a revolutionary thinker. He brought New York City into the 1940s.
I'm just imagining, like, the people who've lived in New York City all of their lives. They see this garbage can and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
It's like revolutionary for them.
Well, it's like, do you remember, because like in Oregon, it's illegal to pump your own gas. And when they were talking about legalizing it a couple years ago, this whole state just went berserk. Like they were just going to lose control of the pump and it was going to spray all over. And, like the housewife spilling stuff all over herself in a bad porno was going to be these people with the fucking gas pumps in Oregon. It's the same thing with the trash cans. Sorry, I'm on week 3 of allergies right now. You can thank the Canadian wildfires because the liberal fucking environmentalist freaks up there won't pass laws that allow them to go in and remove the dead brush. So that shit drifts down here and I have to be miserable until it stops. Here's the other thing we have to realize, though, about this Zohran Mamdani. Why is he so attractive to young voters? Young white voters, because Cuomo won with people from lower class households and black and Hispanic voters. So why is a Muslim socialist from Africa so attractive to young white voters? And we have to view things from other perspectives. We can sit here and we can call his voters stupid. We can call them idealistic. We can call them inexperienced. And you know what? All of those accusations would be 100% true 100% of the time, but that's not going to help us defeat this. To defeat it, we have to understand why it happened. And I think when you look at the way the country is being run, or excuse me, the way the country, I shouldn't say the way the country's being run, the state of the country, where property ownership and a debt-free lifestyle seems almost unattainable to some people. Someone telling them that they're just going to wave a magic wand and make all their problems go away sounds really appealing. Now, they're going to find out very quickly that socialism ain't all it's cracked out to be. They're going to get a real hard line lesson in socialism if this, God forbid, this guy wins and gets to start implementing his policies. But we have to understand that, and we've got to offer, we can't just sit here and call them stupid. We can't just sit here and call this guy a terrorist, sympathizer, or anything like that. We've actually got to understand why he's appealing to them. We've got to identify the problems and the issues that hit with them. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this could spread to the rest of the country, this ideology. I'm not talking about Islam. I'm just talking about socialism. So we need to know how to combat it, and we need to provide solutions that actually work. And find a way, more importantly, perhaps, than offering solutions or alternative solutions to socialism to a lot of these problems, we have to find a way to package this messaging. We've got to beat them at branding. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to play a campaign ad from this guy in a second here. Everything aside, he ran a hell of a campaign. He's very charismatic. This is a good ad. Look at this. Play this ad for them.
My team says I move my hands too much in these videos, so for this one, they're staying in my pockets. The other day on the subway, I met a New Yorker. But get this, they vote in California. I know this is true for many of you. You're Democrats who've chosen not to vote here because you believe your vote counts more elsewhere. Every 4 years, you vote absentee from your parents' address in Philly or 3 apartments and go in Atlanta. But come on, you live here. I get it, I do!
Keep them in your pockets.
Especially after this last election. We all wanted to defeat Donald Trump, and New York felt like a lock. But in many ways, this election, Trump's back on the ballot. We have a choice between Andrew Cuomo, funded by the same billionaires who put Donald Trump back in the White House, and our campaign, who will tax billionaires to make the city affordable. It's a referendum on where our party goes. So in just this one instance, ask yourself, WWDFGD, what would a disgraced former governor do? Well, Cuomo changed his registration immediately after not having lived here for more than 30 years. So if he's voting from his new address, so should you. With just single digits between us and Andrew Cuomo, your vote can make the difference. You have until June 14th, this Saturday, to change your registration in New York City. So head to ZohranForNYC.com/vote. Let's win this thing. I do!
Keep them in your pockets.
Now, he didn't have any political messaging in that ad, but that's a taste of what his campaign looked like. I see the appeal. He's very charismatic.
He's very attractive too.
He's a good. Is he JD Vance attractive though?
Not JD Vance attractive.
Okay.
No. Not
He's the good-looking guy. He's I'd buy a car from him. You know, like and unfortunately, that's what about half of the country bases their vote on is would I buy a car from this guy? I mean, could you imagine buying a car from Trump? How fun that would be. I mean, it really is. Would you buy a car from the guy? That's half the country bases their vote on that alone. Nobody would have bought a car from Kamala Harris. Well, first off, she'd wreck it, pulling it up out of the lot because she'd be too drunk to drive it. But, I mean, it really is. You're right. He's a good-looking guy. He's well-spoken, and he's got effective messaging. So and he's got his heartbeat, or he's got his finger on the pulse of the issues that people care about. So he's found a way to tap into that voter base that doesn't normally show up. And Donald Trump did the same thing. Whether it's left-wing or right-wing, populism is popular right now, for lack of a better word. And he's found a way to do it. So like I said, we've got to find a way. Because we go over the ways to combat socialism, the alternatives to socialism all the time. We debunk the ideas on this show weekly. We all know I hate socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it, is a disaster. It's never worked and never will. We talk about that weekly on the show. What we have to do is we have to find candidates in these vulnerable races that can offer effective messaging. And the problem is, in a dark blue city like New York, you're not going to be able to find that. Because the only alternative that they get in New York, they have the socialist, radical, progressive candidates like Mamdani, and then they've got the establishment dinosaurs like Cuomo. And the establishment dinosaurs, they have no message. It's just we're going to keep things the status quo, and it's going to be more of the same. Well, people don't like the status quo, specifically young people who you can look at any poll out there. They've got the lowest, the least favorable view of their future, the least amount of optimism of any generation, and with good reason. I mean, we're $37 trillion in debt. The price of a home is more than double what it was 5 years ago. Inflation's finally cooling now, but we went through a bad period, and a lot of that damage is done. I mean, credit card debt's at all-time high, student loan debt's out of control. So people have a reason to feel a little bleak about their future. And when someone comes around offering all these solutions to, quote-unquote, solutions, saying they're going to make all these problems disappear by sprinkling some magic fairy dust that is government on it, that's appealing to those people. And it's not effective when we just sit here and go, socialism doesn't work, communism doesn't work. We have to find candidates that can counter that message and brand it the same way. Because Donald Trump ain't going to be here forever. And these small races, these citywide races, city council, mayor, state senate, that's where this shit starts to pick up. Every now and then they'll win a big race. But for the most part, if socialism or any radical idea like that is going to spread in the United States, it's going to be at the state and local level first. And that's where it becomes dangerous. So we actually have to invest in candidates that can deliver an effective free market message with actual solutions to these problems that they can counter these people on the local level. Otherwise, we're fucked. That's just the reality of it, you know? Like I'm looking at some of these races, even here in my home state in Nebraska. And I'll tell you what, if I could afford to take a pay cut down to $12,000 a year, which is what the state senators make in the state of Nebraska, I would run against Merv Reapy, my senator, because I think he's vulnerable and I think he's a sellout hack Republican. But and that's another problem right there that we won't even get into. But we have to start finding effective candidates that get people motivated and get their butts off the couch. So here's the guy, Mamdani. This is his, or Mamdani, excuse me. This is his election party. Go ahead and check this video out here. Look at that. A lot of soy there. All right, that's enough. And that is whiter than a Klan rally.
It also just looks like it stinks.
Oh, I'm sure it smells terrible. And there's not a single 225 plus bench press in the room. Not one. I mean, you walk in there and your testosterone gets cut in half just from breathing in the air in a room like that. If you're a woman, you gain 30 pounds immediately. You know, that's, but I mean, these are the people we're up against. These are the people we're up against. They're very lost and sad people. That's the problem. And here's Mamdani in an interview. This is what he had to say after the primary.
I think it is part of a larger referendum on where our party goes. And I think one of the hopes that we had from the very beginning of this campaign was to move our political instinct from lecturing to listening. You know, at the national level, after the presidential election, we saw that New York was actually the state with the largest swing in the country towards Donald Trump, 11.5 points, and that swing took place far from the caricature of Trump voters, instead taking place in the hearts of immigrant New York City. And I went to those neighborhoods. I went to Fordham Road in the Bronx and Hillside Avenue in Queens, and I asked those New Yorkers, the vast majority of whom were Democrats, why they voted for Trump and what it would take to bring them back to the Democratic Party. And again, what I heard from them was cost of living, was an inability to afford the very things they recalled being able to purchase 4 years ago. And when they told me what it would take, they said again and again, a relentless focus on an economic agenda. And ultimately, in listening to them, we built a campaign that was explicitly about making this city affordable.
And that's the problem right there. He spelled it out. The first problem is he said that's a referendum. So the Democrats think that socialism is the way forward. Now, they know that socialism at the surface level is not going to sell specifically in tight races. They know it can't win in swing states. So what they're going to do is they're going to carefully package socialism. They're not going, while they may use the word socialism in New York, they're not going to use the word socialism in Georgia. They're not going to use it in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. They'll call it something else, or they won't call it anything at all. But they'll package those same ideas and find effective messengers for them. That's where we run into trouble. So he's right, though. That's what makes people get out and vote, is the economic thing. And right now, they got the leg up. They're telling people they're going to make everything free. You know, they're talking about state-run grocery stores. We went on what a disastrous policy that'll be. And we'll talk about some more of his policies, just in case I didn't drive the message home on Wednesday quite enough. But this is Sneeko, speaking of his supporters. Sneeko is a streamer. He rolls around with Andrew Tate and Kanye West. And he supported Mamdani. And wait till you hear his reason. Mamdani. I keep mispronouncing his name. Wait till you hear his reason why.
Hey, didn't see you there. Congrats, though, to Zohran Mamdani. It's not over yet, but it's looking like he won the mayoral race in New York City.
Primary,
we're all over every borough today, seeing people super excited to go out and vote. I supported him because he's the only non-Zionist candidate on that stage. I thought you needed to be bought and sold, but people are energetic. People are tired of the Zionism, and I'm excited to see what he's got. I'm not a socialist myself, I don't want everyone to be a communist getting free stuff, but I think he has some cool ideas. Hopefully he can do the best, man, and wish you the best of luck. If you do win, New York is with you, and we want you to do well, man.
What a fucking retard.
He looks like he's wearing a prison outfit.
He does. He's getting, yeah. I mean, that's like store brand Andrew Tate right there. It's like he's like trying to, I mean, what a retard. I mean, I don't support socialism. I don't think people should get free stuff. Okay, so 75% of the guy's campaign you disagree with right there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Sneeko, who runs around with Kanye West and Andrew Tate, is probably pretty socially conservative and doesn't agree with a lot of the guy's opinions on the alphabet community and things like that. So what? It's like I love how he exposes himself right there. It's basically, yeah, I disagree with 90% of this guy's worldview, but he doesn't like the Jews. So like that's why I voted for him. And this is the problem, is just because someone's an effective messenger for an ideology doesn't mean the ideology is automatically good. Just because you can win with your branding doesn't mean it's something that works. You know, I mean, Hitler got a lot of people on board with the stuff he was saying. That didn't mean it was a good policy.
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler.
Speaking of Kanye, right? But no, he ran a campaign. He ran a good campaign. Now here's some of the policies that Zohran Mamdani has pushed. So here's some of the reasonable policies. Mia, you ready for this? He wants to abolish prisons. He wants to abolish prisons. Now I don't know what you're going to do with the people in the prison. If somebody kills somebody or rapes somebody or, you know, murders somebody, or robs somebody. I already said kill somebody. I don't know what we're going to do with them. But according to, can we start calling him Moron Mamdani? According to Moron Mamdani, the future mayor of New Yorkistan, we're going to get rid of the prisons. What do you think we'll do with the prisoners? What do you think should happen? What do you think we'll do with the people that we that break the law?
Just hope that they don't do bad things again.
Don't you do it again. Hey, I know you raped 13 women, but I'm going to trust you not to do it again. We're going to rehabilitate you. How? I don't know. Hey, school shooter, we're going to rehabilitate you. He voted when he was a member of the legislative branch. He voted against a ban on revenge porn. So if you want to take pictures of your ex-girlfriend and that she sent you with some, you know, intimate naked images and send them around to everybody you know, send them to her parents, send them to her job, post them to social media, Zohran Mamdani thinks you should be free to do that. And it's an infringement on your rights if we ban it. So there's that. He supports a $40 an hour minimum wage. In other words, he wants to see everyone making under $40 an hour get replaced by kiosks. That's what he's saying there. He wants to provide state-funded sites for drug addicts to shoot up heroin at, so that we can make sure that they're not, that they're using clean needles when they shoot up heroin. And I'm not just talking out my ass here. We'll let him. Here's some of the stuff he's said about what he thinks about the police. This is a tweet. Go ahead and pull it up. How he would handle law enforcement. The first one. He says, we don't need an investigation to know that the NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. What we need to do is defund the NYPD. Now, that was a slogan that was going around during the George Floyd era. During the riots, people were saying defund the police, and there was debate about whether it meant like actually get rid of the police or change the way you're funding them, cut their funding. There was a lot of words getting minced there. So Andrew Cuomo, when he was governor during the Floyd riots, pull up the second tweet here, said, and I quote, when people are saying, this is what Cuomo said back in 2020, when people are saying defund the police, they're saying they want to see real fundamental change. He said the state is passing an important package of reforms, and local mayors and police departments must also hear the people. Mamdani clarifies the issue and says, no, we just want to defund the police. So he wants to get rid of the police, to make it clear, probably so he can send revenge porn and no one can arrest him. Now, here's what he had to say about guns back in 2022. We need to ban all guns. We cracked that one off at 12 o'clock midnight. That's what he was doing at midnight in 2022, was thinking about banning all guns. Hey, question, dipshit. If we get rid of the police, who's going to go around and enforce the gun ban? Who's going to come take it from me? You going to send a social worker? Or are you just going to just count on me turning it in? What a fucking idiot. This guy's 33 years old. He's never had a real job. His mother, who he lives with, says he doesn't identify as a real American first. So he's not an American. He doesn't even identify as American. They want to make this guy mayor in New York City. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. He supports rent control, which, by the way, we've talked rent control on the show before. They've tried it in New York City. It was a disaster. You had some of the worst living conditions in the history of the city. But trust me, this time it'll be different. There's economists on both the left and the right, like 90% agree it's disastrous. Some have even said it would be more effective to impose rent control on a city if you wanted to destroy it than carpet bombing it. So there's that. The problem with rent control is it reduces both the quality and the quantity. So there's no incentive to maintain properties if you're a landlord who can't keep his who can't raise the rent when he needs to make renovations to the property, or when taxes go up or insurance or you name it. That money's got to get cut somewhere, because believe it or not, landlords don't just have bottomless pockets. So that guy's not going to maintain the property, and you can go in and try to force him to maintain the property. He's not going to be able to. He's going to sell it. The place is going to go bankrupt, and then no one's going to be able to live there. It causes a shrinking supply of rental housing. These units get converted into condos that they can sell, Airbnbs, or they just move it. There's a whole bunch of things. Developers won't build rental housing in the area. So you have, again, a quantity issue, because no one wants to build there because they know they can't make money. What happens then is you get people that move in to these housing, young people. They'll move into a rent-controlled area, and they'll stay there at that specific rent rate, and they'll become more successful because they've graduated college or moved up in their career or whatever the case may be, and then they'll stay there. So they don't move on to a more expensive or nicer place because they've got such a cheap rent that they've been paying for years. And other young people have to go in and pay way higher rent because these people are the ones keeping the prices up. So it's a disaster. It causes, they've tried it in California. They've tried it in New York. It has never worked anywhere they've done it because economically it doesn't make sense. It turns decent apartments and homes into slums because people can't afford to keep up with it. Now, are there slumlords that treat people like shit and jack the rent up? Yeah, there are. And you know what? We already have provisions in place that are supposed to combat that. And I think we should, just like with a lot of laws in this country, enforce the laws we have on the books rather than making new ones. And we should punish the bad actors, but we should also realize that a lot of the time, when your landlord raises your rent, you should look at the insurance rates in your area and see what they're doing, because my guess is that price is being passed on to you. The profit margin in the real estate industry isn't as high as people think it is. That's just a fact. So, he's going to be a disaster. He's going to be a disaster. If you're in New York, vote for Eric Adams. I'm not a huge fan of him. We've got our differences politically, but he's far better than this garbage that you're going to get. This guy's going to drive all the money out of your city, all the investment out of your city. You think you got a housing crisis now? Wait until all the available housing is shit because nobody can afford to maintain it and nobody wants to build any new ones. Just wait. Rent's already a problem in New York City. He's going to push Wall Street out. You're going to see another boom, probably not to Florida, but like I said, New Jersey, North Carolina, Virginia, those areas, you're probably going to see a boom of rich New Yorkers moving there. By the way, as much as these guys claim to hate rich people, if the rich folks left New York City, forget their business investments, just from a tax revenue standpoint. If the rich people left New York City, that city would be bankrupt in a couple of years. They wouldn't be able to pay for the police. They wouldn't be able to pay the fire department. They wouldn't be able to keep up the roads. It would be a train wreck. He's going to burn the city to the ground. And it's like I said, maybe this is a good thing that this is going to happen in such a big city. So the rest of the country, you know, the cat's out of the bag. He's not disguising it. He's not hiding it. The rest of the country can see what socialism really is. There won't be any denying it when this guy ruins that city, and I guarantee you he's going to. So that's all there is to it. Good luck, New Yorkistan. That's been our lead topic.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.